Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel where we teach you all about online course creation and entrepreneurship. My name is Elisha and in today's video, we're going to be talking all about content that is not only engaging to your audience, but also converts them. Before we start, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and also hit that bell notification button down below. We'll be making videos just like this every week. Kyshira Moffett is an award-winning serial entrepreneur who specializes in assisting entrepreneurs in packaging their specialties and building and monetizing their online presence. Let's jump straight into the video.
Hi everyone, welcome to Content That Converts. I am your instructor, Kyshira, and today we're going to be talking about how to leverage your content to sell your course and create more visibility for your brand. I am your instructor, Kyshira Moffett, and I am a full-time business owner, and my company is called The Power Collective. In my company, I serve as a business strategist and coach, and I specialize in helping small business owners learn how to package their expertise into high-ticket coaching programs and sell them organically through social media. My favorite thing to do is work with overlooked experts who have a lot of value to add, but who are struggling with visibility to actually be seen by the clients they want to work with. I am also a serial entrepreneur. I have a company called Life of a Bombshell Cosmetics, which started as a passion project and turned into a full-blown company where I sell lipstick, eyeshadow, makeup brushes, lip gloss, you name it, I probably have it. And I'm also a speaker and 4-time published author, which honestly is one of my most proudest accomplishments. My books, such as All in Favor of Branding, Bombshell of All Trades, and more are all featured on Amazon. But today I am talking to you about content, and fun fact, my social media content is what actually helped me to write all of my books. A lot of my books contain talking points and repurposed pieces from things that I put on social media that performed really, really well. So definitely get your notebooks and your pen, and if you haven't already downloaded your workbook, let's get into it. So let's talk about why you need content. I always think it's important to just really break down, why are we about to engage in this work? Why are we about to do this project? It's important to know, how are the things you're working on supporting your business goals? And with content creation, this is going to help you get your audience and your prospective customers to climb the brand ladder. So here we start at the very base, which is brand awareness, right? And in brand awareness phase, people vaguely know who you are. They may engage with you on social media. They may follow you on social media. They may come across your website. They may have even heard about you through some press. So you may have been featured on a blog or a podcast interview. So in the awareness phase, they're aware of you, but they haven't taken any real action yet. Through your content, you can get them up the ladder and get them to the next step, which is brand interest, where they are now taking action. And 9 times out of 10, they've joined your email list or signed up for a freebie. And now, because you have their information, they are now a lead. If you engage in text message marketing, you can sub this one out for, they actually text your text club line, and now you have their information and they're now on your list. And then the next step, which is where content becomes even more important, is now we have to get them from just being interested in you to actually supporting your business. So actually making a purchase, buying something, or signing up for your services. Content is what gets them up this ladder. I don't know any other way to get someone from vaguely being aware of you to then buying from you outside of social media content, email marketing content, ad content, but content. And so in this day and age, more than likely, you're trying to get someone to buy your course. So we have to be very intentional about the content that we create to move them up the ladder. So I want to give some disclaimers before we jump into this, because I know when we talk about content, it can be overwhelming. So disclaimer number 1, you do not need to be active on every social media platform. You do not have to be on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, have a podcast. Those things are amazing tools and platforms, but they don't mean that doesn't mean that you have to leverage every single one of them. And 9 times out of 10, if you follow people who do leverage those platforms, they've grown into those platforms. They may not have started on every single one. They probably have a team supporting them, or they have really high-end automation tools. And so my recommendation is pick one or 2 platforms if you are new to start with, and actively engage and post on that platform, learn all of the features and build your brand starting there, and then expand when you feel that you'd like to. I always give the disclaimer too that you should make profiles on popular social platforms just so you can secure your name. So when I make a profile, I will make sure to put a profile picture, a bio, my web link, things like that. So I do fill it out, but I'm not actively posting on it. The next disclaimer. So I know you all have probably heard the best practice of creating 7 to 10 pieces of content as part of a sales funnel, because people tend to need to see things 7 to 10 times before they're convinced. And so you may have this misconception that you have to create all of this content for every social platform. So if you're on Facebook, Instagram, and you have email, then that now means you need 30 pieces of content. That is not true. Instead, consider each platform as a different touch point to your customer. Let's be honest, most people do engage with us on different platforms. People who are on your email list are probably following you on Instagram, or they're probably connected with you on Facebook. And so thinking about how you can leverage all of these tools in connection versus in silos to engage them will actually make your content strategy a lot easier to digest. So I want to talk to you about the difference between free content and paid content, because this comes up a ton in conversations when really thinking about what should I keep behind the paywall versus what should I share freely on social. And so I like to use a value chain. You may have seen something similar to this online, but this is just a really good best practice. And so the higher you climb on this ladder, the more value your audience receives, and also the higher the price point. And so in free content, this is where you're telling your audience something, you are bringing awareness. You want to be careful to not do a ton of teaching online, but instead really helping your audience to really understand the core problems and pain points that you know they have, and letting them know why this is urgent, introducing them to your solutions, and really showing them why you're the best person to teach this. Teach them how to get out of it in your course. Okay. In entry level content, you're now showing someone how to do stuff, right? And so entry level, people will debate around what that price tag looks like, but I mean, that's anywhere from a $10 product up to a $200 product if you so choose. It's completely up to you. But here you're showing people how to do something, right? And again, this is typically self-paced. The next level up is mid-level content. This is do it with you content. This is typically coaching programs, group coaching experiences. Maybe you have a course that's highly interactive where there's calls, there's office hours, there's Zoom chat. So that would be a mid-level offer. And then high level is do it for you. So that's your people who are doing maybe graphic design, web design, podcast editing, copywriting. So they're actually producing the work. And so I want to go back to the free content piece, because here I do want you to be cautious of teaching. Now, should you teach every now and then? Sure. But does that mean it's give away your entire course? Absolutely not. For example, if you have a course on how to leverage Instagram to make more sales, maybe one thing that you do in terms of content that's still teaching but not giving away your course is 3 mistakes you're making on Instagram when it comes to sales. This will help your audience to see where they may be making some missteps, and it will also position you as an expert in their mind for calling it out and giving them ideas of other things they can consider instead. So now I want to give you some content types, and I was really brainstorming all of the different content pieces I could think of on this slide, so you are welcome to screenshot it. But whenever we say content, I think we get caught up in social media posts, and that is just one type of content. There are so many other types of content, and that includes blog posts and also guest blog posts if you write for other people's site. Fun fact, my favorite type of content to dissect is blog posts. Because if I can write a good 6-paragraph blog post, I can maybe get about 10 Instagram captions from that. So I like to create long form content so that I'm able to repurpose it. Additional content, live streaming, my personal favorite type of content. The bulk of my sales come from live streaming, and live streaming is amazing. Pre-recorded videos that can go on YouTube or social media. Audio trainings, ebooks, workbooks, webinars, e-courses, tutorials, interviews, podcasts, workshops, infographics, email courses, long form captions, those storytelling type captions. Testimonials are also content. You also start collecting your testimonials. Case studies. And case studies are really fun because you can create case studies based on your own business, things you've engaged in. You can create case studies around your client success stories, and you can also write hypothetical case studies based on how you would approach a situation, and you can create case studies based on current events. So I know everyone's favorite person to write case studies on social media is Beyonce, and how she launches different products and how she does things. So with that, you can even start to think about your industry and current events and really showcasing your perspective. Again, thought leadership, which is a really big thing in my business, online. And then of course, quotes, memes, gifs, these are all pieces of content as well. And so when you think about this should already have your wheels turning about different things you can do to engage your audience. And I always say, have fun with this and experiment. Just because people that you follow only engage in long form captions and webinars does not mean that you have to only do that. Experiment and see what works. You'd be really surprised at what actually drives results in your business. So in terms of how I actually brainstorm content, and this is actually how I create my content vault, that I like to call it, which is basically a place I can go in my Google Drive where I store all of my content ideas. And so this is a technique that I leveraged when I was a blogger, and I still use it to this day, and it is called the index card technique. If you don't have index cards, you can totally get some paper and just cut it up. But what I want you to do on those index cards is I want you to think about a couple of major topics that you are qualified to cover, things that you could write about with ease. And when I say major topics, I want you to think broad and very general. I don't want you to get very specific yet. And so I want you to write on one side of the index card, if you're using those, typically the side with no lines, those major topics. So here's an example of things that I would say. I would put how to create a coaching program. I would also put how to brand yourself online. I would maybe put how to stand out in a saturated market. I would probably put Facebook groups as its own card, right? And so write down all of these large ideas. From there, I want you to then flip over each card on the lined side, and then I want you to write down subtopics that you could talk about based on those general topics. So an example with the how to stand out in a saturated market, a subtopic I may write about could be 3 ways to stand out on Instagram, 5 ways to find out your unique value proposition, maybe 3 ways to price yourself competitively. So things that would go underneath that broad topic. And I always say for this exercise, if you could try to write the subtopic as a title, you're going to make things a lot easier for you. And so you can use these subtopics as live streams, social media captions, podcast episodes, webinars. You can use them for a ton of different things. So the goal behind this is to really break down your large concepts and do your brainstorming early on. So moments when you don't feel that creative, you could just refer back to your initial ideas. And so another really good tip is to break your large concepts and ideas into a series. So for my how to stand out in a saturated market card, if I ended up with maybe 4 or 5 ideas on the back side, I could turn that into a month-long live stream series. I could turn it into a podcast series, a blog series, a caption series on Instagram. So really have fun with it. And then from there, insert your content into your preferred tracking tool. My preferred tracking tool for content ideas and my content calendar is actually just using Google Sheets. That's my preferred tool. And then from there, if you need to use a thesaurus, you're welcome to do so to get other ideas. Sometimes I pull up a thesaurus just so I can think of a unique way to say something that I've probably said a million times. And then from there, create your active editorial calendar, really thinking through when you want to leverage each topic. And make sure that you pull out your planner or your calendar app and schedule time for creating and editing. That's so important. Bonus tip here is to survey your audience. And instead of asking them, what do you all want to see from me? Which really drives me crazy because I don't think people get really good answers from that. Instead, ask them really targeted questions around certain challenges they may be having and make it easy for them. So instead of saying, what business challenges are you having? I may ask my audience, hey, why haven't you started live streaming yet? And I'll look for the answers. Or, hey, what issues are you having with marketing your business on social media? And then let them tell me from there what they're running into. So I want to give you another example of how you can develop content from one idea in terms of repurposing. So when you think about how I love to do this, is really thinking about how can I repurpose one piece of content, but really make it into more. And so I would recommend creating a piece of content that showcases a variety of ways to achieve a goal, right? And then once you build a piece of content, create a new piece of content for each point listed. So here's an example to break this down. So here, let's say I hosted a live stream broadcast on Instagram on 5 ways to attract 1,000 email subscribers in 30 days. That's my title. And here's my 5 talking points. Host a webinar, create a free ebook, create a worksheet that corresponds with your live stream, partner with influencers to host a giveaway, host a 5-day challenge. So these are my talking points in the live stream. I would talk through why these things are valuable, right? Now I can take each one of those talking points and create more content from it. So I could create a blog post on 3 things you should do to have a successful first webinar. I could do another live stream on 5 key tools you need to make an ebook. I could have a free download, a free opt-in on a live stream success checklist, right? So you notice how as I'm going through each of these, they correspond with these talking points. So this is a really good way to, excuse me, I keep clicking, clicking back, but this is a really good way to repurpose one really good idea. This is going to make you just go deeper into that idea. I could create a podcast on collaboration versus competition. I could have a webinar on how to use interactive challenges to grow your business. And so this is, again, another really cool way to go deeper. But then also keep in mind that you don't have to create content for all of these different platforms. Instead, if you were only leveraging live streaming, then you could just create live streams on all of these talking points. So just to get your wheels spinning and ideas turning. So let's talk about selling your course, right? Because now we've talked about building your brand, creating content, and leveraging your content. Let's talk about how you can leverage it to sell your course. So whenever you're selling a course, you're typically leveraging some kind of sales funnels. A misconception about sales funnels is that they're only email-based. Completely not true. Sales funnels can be social media, email, blogs, ads, all of that. And sales funnels can be anywhere from 5 touch points, I've been seeing up to 20 touch points, completely up to you. And your funnel typically begins with some kind of incentive, a freebie, a webinar, a challenge, etc. So when you're building your funnels, this is where I like to leverage existing content and repurpose it and pull content that tells my story, conquers misconceptions about the topic that I'm teaching, answers any frequently asked questions, illustrating a pain point that the course is going to solve, introducing the offer, talking about why you created it, and creating urgency around why they need to take advantage of it quickly. Fun fact, you guys, I just gave you everything that needs to be in your funnel. And I'm sorry that I keep moving this, but I'm using new software. But essentially, every piece of this paragraph is a different touch point. So everything here should be its own either post or email. Whenever I see people selling courses, typically all they focus on is introducing the offer and creating urgency, but they never really focus on the pain points that it solves. They never really think about their customers' thought process and buying patterns to conquer misconceptions. Sometimes people focus way too much on the benefits of the course, how many workbooks and how many modules. But again, we're really not thinking about the pain points that each one of those things solves and sparking interest in the person solving it. And so this is something that I don't want you to overcomplicate. I want you to really build this out, leveraging some of the pieces we talked about before with creating content, and continue to update and edit your funnel until you get the results that you desire. One big thing that I see people do is if they try a funnel and they don't get the results, is they either don't see the funnel through or they throw it away, versus looking at your analytics and really identifying where you may have missed a step in the funnel, where the funnel may have dropped off, or looking to see if there was any technical issues, and then continuing to edit. And again, continue to train to tweak and edit your funnel until you get those desired results. Don't just throw your course or your funnel away if you don't see those results. So we mentioned repurposing content before, but I wanted to give you some other ideas of things you could do. You can turn a series of blog posts into a book. You can transcribe your live streams and webinars into books or emails. And if you don't know what transcribe means, that simply means having someone or an automation tool type up what you were literally saying in a live stream or a webinar and give it back to you. And you can also convert your webinars into paid courses. So if you are someone who's already sitting on a landmine of content because you've been giving away free content for months or years now, you can turn those things into paid pieces of content. So let's talk about consistency, which is my favorite word when it comes to content. Consistency doesn't have to mean posting every day, all day on all of the platforms. Consistency really means showing up when your audience expects you to, which is when you set that tone. So if you set a tone that you're going to be going live every day, or Monday, Wednesday, Friday, then you actually want to make sure that you're meeting those expectations. That's so important. Quality over quantity. Don't post for the sake of posting, but post with a purpose. Now, what I'm not saying is don't post, for 3 or 4 weeks because you don't have anything to say. You don't want to disappear. But I don't want you to think that you have to post 3 and 4 times a day, every day, in order to be seen and get visibility. It's really about leaving that lasting impression. And yes, you can repurpose old content. You don't have to always create new things. You can repurpose old things. In fact, there's this graphic that I continue to repost that I made around metrics you should track at the end of each month. And I repost it at the end of each month because it's still relevant. So I want to wrap up with a couple of additional best practices when it comes to content. Number 1 is leveraging trends, pop culture, and social media holidays when possible. Social media holidays are things like National Lipstick Day and National Best Friend Day, things that tend to be trending topics. So leverage those whenever possible and when it aligns with your brand. Of course, if something doesn't make sense for your brand, definitely don't reference it. Make sure that you always have clear and strong calls to action. Calls to action are when you're asking your audience to do something. So that's click the link in my bio, buy my course, book a call, comment below, and make them clear. Don't have like pre-qualifiers where it's like, if you are ready, or if you think this is, no, just say, click the link in my bio. You don't need to qualify it. You want to be seen as an expert, but communicate clearly. What that means is be careful of speaking so much like an expert that your audience doesn't understand what you're saying. So you want to communicate in layman's terms as much as you can. And when you do introduce a term that's industry specific, actually define it for your audience and break it down. And that's something that I've gotten better with over the years, because I take for granted that people understand things like, maybe I'll say SEO, which stands for search engine optimization, right? And then moving forward, explaining what search engine optimization is. So just make sure that you're communicating with your audience at a level they can understand. Share your content more than once. So if you are someone that's active with podcasting, blogging, YouTube, don't just share your new content one time, share it multiple times. In fact, the week that I drop new content, I probably post it 5 or 6 times across platforms. And last but not least, set up an automation tool. So that's something like a Buffer, a Hootsuite. I use a tool called SocialBee to actually automate some of your social media and make sure that you're reviewing those analytics regularly. Don't just sit on analytics, actually look at them. So with that, I want to thank you so much for participating and for watching. If you have any questions, you're more than welcome to reach out to me on Instagram at Kyshira. My email is kyshira@thepowercollective.co. And you can also visit my website if you have any additional questions. Have an amazing rest of your day, and I'll talk to you soon.
We're going to have more videos coming up featuring successful entrepreneurs on this channel, so be sure to subscribe and stick around. Thanks for watching.